Well, welcome to the Nicole Richardson podcast. Today we have Latresa Lomax here with us, and we can start with just getting to know a little bit more about Latresa. I know that you were just on a vacation, so I want to hear all about that, and then we can kind of dig into, just your story and start from there. So tell me about, where'd you just go off to?
Oh, so I just went to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. I went there for it was supposed to be 7 days, but I ended up I added an extra day. So it was really It's like relaxing. We did like an Airbnb. We rented this house, and the house had like a pool in the back, and the ocean was just like a 1 minute walk. It was just amazing. And then it was my honey's birthday weekend, so I hired like this chef to come in and make his birthday dinner. It was fabulous. I just had a wonderful time.
And I like going back to that. How do you get connected with a group like that? Did you reach out to them? When you were kind of looking through your ancestry, like how did that happen?
So I have been doing like my family tree for about, I think it's going on 15, 16 years, right?
Mm.
You know how the elders always tell us these stories. And, the young people at that time, I was young, you're like, okay. It's like you're thinking they're telling some tall tales.
Uh-huh.
And so I had been doing the history, and my mom and my mom's brothers always talked about the family tree. I'm from Georgia, right? So Southwest Georgia. And so I found evidence that we had freedmen. I found that my great grandfather he owned a lot of land. A lot of the land in that particular region was Creek land.
Mhm.
And so they owned that land. They were farmers on the land. I found so you have to go two lines. You have to go to grandma, you have to go to your mom's side, and then you have to go to your dad's side, right? So that's that family line, and then your father's side. So my mom's line was very interesting, right? So I was like, oh my God, they had all this stuff. And I found out my grandmother was a healer.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a wild journey, like to find those origination, like those origin stories and really connect with like who you are and your ancestry and all of that. It's something that I've been thinking of doing also, just to kind of, know a little more about prehistory of my great grandmother, because I actually was able to meet my great grandmother. She was alive until I was
Mm.
about 16, 17 years old. uh,
Wow.
yeah, so she
Tape
passed.
it.
Yeah, she passed at 90, and then earlier this
Oh.
year my grandmother passed at 90 also. But just to be able
Mm.
to have that relationship with them, and then, have that ancestry on, before
They're
all
the
of that.
elders. And
Yeah.
can you imagine 90 years? You've seen so
So
many
much.
things change
Mhm.
within 90 years.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. It's a lot. We could do a
Yeah.
whole other podcast on this. It's just
Yeah.
so interesting to have found our place in history
Yeah.
and to connect the dots.
No, I think that's really cool. And so now going back, so just talking about connecting the dots and learning about roots, I want to learn about the roots of like how you started. So you were like in system security and management, and I want to know, how do you get into that? How did that story start, and then to get you to where you are now, because you're doing something completely different
Oh,
from
yeah.
where you started. So tell me more about that.
Okay, so I started out in the military. I joined the military. So I did 1 year of college. I couldn't afford it. Then I said, okay, I need to pay for this. And so I went into the military to help pay for school. as I was in the military, you get all kind of training. I was Navy. So I had training in the Navy, and then, they introduced like back in the 90s where like that tech boom was going like real hard, right? So I got all this training and stuff. And so that's how I started. I started out in the military, and I ended up graduating with 2 masters coming out of the military. And I was like, yo, after I did all of that, I was like, I don't want to be in anymore, because I was going to have to deploy to a ship, to an aircraft carrier. So I had girls, and I was like, I can't do that. So I decided, oh, it's time to get out. And I was like, oh, I want my own business. And I kept saying that, right? Because once you get your degree, you're like, oh, I can conquer the world. So I got out of the military and ended up doing some contracting work. Because back in the day, when you started your business, you had to have seed money. And listen, that was your money. Basically, there was no crowdfunding or anything like that. It was your money. So I had to go and work at these other companies. You know how you kind of sort of, you get kind of comfortable. And I was getting too comfortable working for other people, because my whole idea was I'm going to start my own chapter. So I'm still doing IT, cybersecurity, right? When I got out, so I was working for this 3-letter company. I'm not going to say who they are, but I ended up going over there and working, right? And so by that time, I had been out of the military maybe like 4 years. Like, man, I'm just going to take this job. And I took the job. So it was a good job. I really liked the job. So I had been there for like a year. And so after I had been there, myself and, believe it or not, my business partner, we had been there for a year. And then they came, after a year, you get your performance review. So the guy comes and he says, oh my God, you are amazing. You are a rock star. You are just incredible. He said, I got to tell you, you're incredible. And I was like, oh, thank you. And you didn't mind. You're going like, oh man, this is going to be a nice raise.
And you were there for a year at this time, right?
Yeah, I had been there
Okay.
for a year. Based off my work, they were able to build up that contract, and they were able to bring in like 20 more people. So it started out with like 2 people. And based off what I was doing, the customer really liked my work. And so they were like, oh yeah, bring more in because we love her. And so when I sat down for the review, he's telling me I'm a rock star, blah, blah. And so I was like, I'm just waiting like, ooh, I'll get this raise. He said, oh yeah. And it's, I want to get to the meat and potatoes of the meeting. He was like, yeah, so what we decided, he said, because you're doing so great, we're going to give you a 0.05% raise. I said, what now?
0.05.
I said, oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? He said 0.05. I said, so you mean 5, right? 5%. He was like, no. I mean 0.05%. Oh, wow. I said, so I'm doing a great job, right? He was like, oh yeah, you're amazing. Da, 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 da. I was like, oh, wow. Thank you. So immediately after that meeting, I was determined.
Yeah.
I was determined. I didn't let it rock me, but it did rock my little it knocked me down a couple of notches. Because somebody saying you're a rock star, you're amazing, and then they say, oh, 0.05%. It wasn't even a whole percent.
Yeah, that's like a slap in the face. It's like, you tell me I'm amazing, but then you want me to be so happy and grateful for this 0.05, like it's something.
I think I was more in shock because I said to that guy like, I made him repeat it 4 times because I thought I was like, yo, I think I'm tripping. I know that's not what he just said.
Right. Yeah, because it's
So
not adding up.
it wasn't adding up, and I was just like, "What is that?" I mean, I said immediately after that, I started plotting on the
Hmm.
great escape of starting my business. And my business partner, we were on the same, they did the same thing to him. And we were like, we complained. I was like, look, we need to start this business. And yes, we took a whole year of build, we had to put the money together to start, you have to have money, seed money to start out. Back in the day, it was no go online, create blah blah. No, you had to literally, because I'm in the DC area, you literally go down to the office, stand in these long lines, get your documentation done. And it's just crazy how you started a business like back in the day. And
Yeah.
so it took 1 year to set everything, the infrastructure up. Now, this is back in the day. Now, you set your infrastructure up like that.
Yeah, with the click of a button.
Yes.
Not it taking a whole year back in the day. Oh
That's
my
a whole
goodness.
year. Yeah, it took a whole year. And so meanwhile, still working the same job, right? And
While you wait on your paperwork to get filed and get your
still
stamps
working
and
the same
everything.
job, still smiling, going in every day and doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Customer loved me. And so he was coming back up for the same time frame, that year prior to. Because remember, that very next day, I started plotting. So it was coming up for, the whole performance review. I said, "Oh no, my performance review was my resignation letter." I
Mm.
just handed in my resignation letter literally a year later, and I walked back. I walked out that day and walked right back in the same building
Okay, I
on the
gotta
same
tell
job.
me, how does that happen? How you walk out and you walk what?
So I negotiated with the other competition. I went. We established our organization. It took a year to get our infrastructure together, and we were in talks with their competition.
Mm.
And so we literally handed in resignations and walked right back at the same desk.
At the same desk.
Same desk.
So the company that you worked for and their competitors were in the same building?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And they were pissed.
Yeah.
They were like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh no, I still work here." They were like, "Oh no, no, you resign." I was like, "Oh no, oh no." So I've negotiated a new contract with my own company, and I'm now working under this contract with your competitor. And they were like,
Mm. I would have
so
loved to
that's
be a
what
fly on
happened.
the wall that day.
Oh my God. And I was like, and I said, "I'm so upset. You guys didn't even give me a going away party." I was just being real I was like, I mean, y'all still think about giving me a going away party? They were like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I said, "You said I was an excellent, employee." I said, so I said, real talk. I said, I thought it was very disrespectful based off my work. You guys were able to build this thing. And I said, it was disrespectful to me last year when you guys gave me a 0.05% raise. And I said, that was disrespectful on so many levels. I said, based off what the 20 people you brought in here, surely, and I told them the number. I said, you have at least a 40% profit off this contract. And I said, no. I said, I thought that was very disrespectful and I was very disappointed. And so I said, I thank you. I always said to the guy, I was like, "Thank you so much. I
Mhm.
just want to say thank you. Because if it had not been for you, I would have been comfortable. just doing this job because I love the job. It was cybersecurity. I love the job. And I
Mhm.
said I would have been stuck because I was moving. Again, I was out for 4 years and I had raised the money, but I was, fear. I was like, oh no, that's too much. Just I'm comfortable. I said I would have been very comfortable. But I said, I just want to thank you guys so much for giving me the kick that I needed to move forward and start my own business.
Mm.
Meanwhile, coming up on 15 years.
Doing your own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I've learned a lot. It's kind of funny to see how things are changing from when I first began, my business partner and I, and looking at like everything now. It's like whoa, it's really different because I see it's so funny going on social media. It's like, oh yeah, you can start your LLC right now. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
it
my
takes no
God.
time. No time.
I said it wasn't like that back in the day. You had to go stand in a long line, get your paperwork together, and pray to God you dot the I and did the T.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's been a journey. It's been really exciting. I
Mhm.
cannot complain. It's been a learning experience because there's so much stuff available for new entrepreneurs now, whereas back in the day, you had to figure it out.
Mhm.
You had to figure it out. No, it's like you had a mentor, but they don't have time to meet with you. And so, you have to walk yourself through all of these things. And it's just like now, it's just like, oh, okay, this is what we got to do. Okay, let's do A, B, C, and D, move forward.
Yeah. So you mentioned that like there was some fear there when it came to getting started and doing your own thing. What kind of fear do you think was there? And like why do you feel like there was fear with starting your own?
Um, you know, I guess for me, being a woman in this in this industry, I have computers, right? What are we? I think like 3% now women are in cybersecurity in this, in the field. And lots of times, you can be the only female in the room with a bunch of geeks, right? And it can be, initially when I first started, it was a little intimidating, right? But I did have that background military experience where I had like, that leadership thing and to go forward and you got to get it done. But in the back of your mind, I had just that fear of failing. I thought I didn't, again, back then, there was I don't care. No one could have taught me what I know now in any college, period. Right? It
Right.
was OJ, it's what we call in military OJT, on the job training. So it was literally that. I could never have learned how to run a business in a college setting. It's more or less you got to get in there, get your feet wet, and just get in there and just do it. And I
Mhm.
had that fear of failing because I kept saying, remember back in the military, I want my own business. I can't. I was like, I was really like set on, I want my own business. I kept saying that. And now the reality stuck in. It's like, oh, well, you got the money now. So what's up now? It's like, I'm comfortable now. I'm making good money. I got good benefits. Why do I want to go and, do this business thing? And I'm talking like a lot of anxiety that I was like, but after that meeting, I believe in energy. That was it. That was the kick that I needed to basically step out and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Not be um, tethered to someone else's dream. I had to come into my realization that this is my dream. I've been saying this forever. Now I need to bring this into fruition. And I look, it was a lot of learning lessons when the business was first started. Because I tell you, there would be no class that would prepare you. Now, it's easier now. It's way easier, right? You have all kind of like stuff available to you, right? Now you got AI apps that do pretty much everything for you.
Right. Yeah.
So now I look back on it, I just smile because I said, man, I wouldn't change that for the world.
Right. And I can imagine, like, also, like you mentioned that you had girls back then.
Mhm.
So having young children, starting this big dream and, pushing yourself to get uncomfortable from a comfortable situation of feeling like you have the security in a job
Yeah.
because the money is there, the money is
Mhm.
coming, and it's like, I'm gonna ruffle all of this to do my own thing.
Like, are
So
you crazy? It's like it's like when I was getting out of the military, I remember I was because I was in I was this is a side note. So I was stationed in the Pentagon in 2001.
Mm,
I was stationed in J3. I was in the joint the joint staff, National Military Command Center. So I again, I had to go meet with all these different people. And they're like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Why are you doing that? Why are you getting out? I mean, yeah, you got your master's degree. What's that mean? This tech boom thing, it's a fad. It's a fad. I got out of the military in March the 23rd of 2001. The military was, as we all know, September 11th happened that year.
hmm
September 11th happened the same year.
Just 6 months later.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so it's so ironic because where that plane hit the Pentagon, I was on that side of the Pentagon every day. And
Wow.
when it hit, I would have been on that side of the Pentagon. I had lots. Again, Pentagon is like a little small city. It's like a small town. Everybody know everybody, right? I had several friends who perished that day.
Mhm.
Yeah, several friends who perished that day. So I always say everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and my journey has been one for the record books, I guess, of going through this field and being an expert at what you do, and then having a company. You know, it's just been an amazing ride for me.
Yeah. And what made you get into like the cybersecurity kind of field? Like, was that just, like that, how did that like come about for you?
So remember, okay, so you remember about, oh well, you probably don't remember. I'm saying it like we the same age, but back in the day, the tech boom was all the rage. It's like people were like creating companies left and right. With if you were a tech company, you got automatic funding. I mean, like if you came up with a great idea, remember Microsoft and all that stuff, that was back in the day. And so security was not really thought of. It wasn't like a thing. It really wasn't. So it's like, I was like, I want to see the other side of it, right? I want to know what's that like. How do you protect this thing? So I took some classes in the military, and I
Mm,
I took this training, and I was hooked. I was like, oh yeah, it's so funny because again, I had to go meet with all these people, like high-ranking people, to tell me I was making a dumb decision. Oh, you took the class, and now you think you're an expert.
Little did they know they should have been taking that class too,
This is
huh?
a bad this whole Microsoft Windows 95 thing. I mean, you really jumping the gun here. That's what they were telling me. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, whenever somebody tells you no, it just always gives me an extra kick,
Yeah.
right? That it always kicks in for me. I was like, well, everybody's telling me no, so why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I said no. I'm gonna do security, and so I got into it, and I've been in it for a while, and
Hmm.
it's been very interesting to see it and see how it's progressed. And I remember maybe like 8 years ago, I used to go around and do all of these speeches and stuff like that, right? I said, oh yeah, cybercrime is like $3 million, blah blah. Now it's a trillion,
Mm.
$1 trillion cyber criminal, $1 trillion. It's up to $1 trillion.
That's
How it's
wild.
impacted the
Yeah.
entire infrastructure of businesses. Don't matter what kind of business you are. If you got a computer, that's me, IT, right? So IT touches everything.
Hmm.
We're up to $1 trillion in cybercrime.
Yeah.
That's
And you also
crazy.
said you had a mentor, right? So that was were they kind of giving you a little guidance on how to navigate, was it just cybersecurity or on how to navigate creating your business and how to set up your infrastructure and, get clients and things like that?
So it's kind of funny. So again, I started my business back 2010.
Hmm.
And you started out, you kind of like you had to figure it out, right? I had to figure it out. And so and I had like a mentor, but the mentor was trying to figure it out too. And so it's like, okay. Um, so you kind of sort of you went to all of these meetings, and you go and you took again. I'm a lifetime student. I will take training in a class to figure it
Hmm.
out, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to make it my own. It was like when you talk to some business owners, they didn't really want to share the information. They didn't really want to tell you. And I was I would be so upset. Like, why would they, I'm not competing against someone small.
We
And
call that gatekeeping.
yes, they would gatekeep the information, right? And then what I figured out? They didn't know.
Uh,
They didn't know. They had no clue. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And so what I figured out was if I am valuable, what I bring to the table, like remember when you start your own business, you team of one, but you can't tell people that.
it's we all day. We can help. We do this.
You can't tell people you're team of one or you're team of two. You can say, oh no, we've been in business and we got love. You got to market that business, right?
Uh-huh.
I always go back to the story of Jay-Z, right? I remember when Jay-Z first started out. He used to go to the radio stations, and this cat was telling he was selling stuff out the back of his car. But when he went in there, he always made it seem like he had all of these people working for him when he was a team of one.
Uh-huh.
And so I learned from that playbook. Yeah, look, we're gonna seem big, but we're not big. But look, when I move out, it's like, oh yeah, we got da, da, da. And you said in the back of your mind, like, girl, sell it, girl, sell it. You need this contract.
Yeah.
So now it's like funny because when you look back at it, and because you know how you start out and you're just like you see these other established businesses or whatever, and
Mhm.
you're just saying to yourself, oh, I want to be like that. And then you start pulling back the layers and you start to find out, oh, they do all that. And so that's pretty much how I had to. It was on the job training,
Mhm.
OJT.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I know, like, just having the years and years of experience of doing what you're doing or what you have been doing has kind of shifted you into something else. So, are you still into the cybersecurity or where are you at now with it?
So yeah, so the entire industry is shifting. AI.
Hmm.
This is the sexy new word now for anything going AI, AI, AI. Well, AI has really been around for a long time. People,
Yeah.
it's been around for a while, right? So AI have shifted a lot. I guess for me, we are doing some more development of some new platforms, doing some more AI technology, and we're working on that right now. It's been real cool trying to get into that particular thing and figuring out this whole AI thing that has brought it's so we right now we're really, even though AI's been around for a while, because I'm a techie geek girl, but a lot of the development, right, of a lot of the tools are not quite there yet, right?
Hmm.
So we're at the infancy stage. But I can come back to your show in 5 years and it will be a totally different, it's going to
Yeah.
be totally different. 5 years, I honestly, I think 3 years, it's going to be totally different. It's
Yeah,
going to
because
be,
it's moving fast. I mean, you
it's,
don't really think about when you think of AI, like right now we're thinking of like Chat GPT and things like that when
it's
it comes
so
to
beyond
AI.
that.
But there's so much more, like Siri, Alexa,
Mhm.
Google Home,
Yeah,
that's all AI.
it's all
So
AI.
yeah, AI's been around
It's been
for
around for a
such a
long
very
time.
long time.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's and now you got like it's kind of exciting, right? Because I kind of feel like this particular time frame, it kind of feels like the 90s a little bit. I feel like it's like a playback a little bit from the 90s where the tech boom was there.
Hmm.
Now I feel like the AI is like the new tech boom for this generation. Like, when I was getting into like IT, I kind of feel it feels like the 90s to me. That's what it
Hmm.
feels like. And so it's exciting to me because I remember how excited I was about getting into IT and security and stuff back in the early 90s, right? I remember that. I remember that feeling of like just like, oh my God, like,
Yeah,
yeah, now it's
something
the
new and something
same.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now it's the same thing. And I think AI is going to change. Well, not think. AI will change everything. Everything
Hmm.
we do. It's going to uh create better processes, right? And so I caution people not to have such a fear of AI because I hear that a lot. A lot of people are terrified of AI.
Yeah.
A
'Cause they,
lot.
it's like they don't know what it's capable of. It's like you hear that it's taking people's jobs and, but a lot of businesses are being created around AI as well. So it's like getting on to that same ship and being able to ride the wave instead of
And
being
that's
afraid of where it's going. You can get on board
Mhm.
with where it's taking us.
And I think that's what I try to encourage people. I think I went to where did I go? Miami. I did a business show in Miami and it was talking about AI and it was talking about the effects of AI. And a lot of businesses, this is the beginning of this year, right? So people were like, oh my God, it's so weird. Because we actually had like a booth. I think, let's do a booth because I did like this speech there. I was on a panel. Yeah, I was on a panel. And people were like, yo, AI? I was like, yeah. And they were so scared. And so that was one of the things that I brought into the panel. I was saying, like, it's here, it's been here. We just didn't know what was called, right? We didn't give it this sexy term, AI, because you just throw
Yeah.
that, it's a sexy IT term now. And for these geek people like me, it's like, oh, okay, it's artificial intelligence, which to me means computer. All right, it's just
Yeah.
another program. It sounds cool, but you know, it's going to be different.
Yeah. So do you have a sneak peek of like what you're kind of building with AI? Can you give us a little inch or two of what's going on in the background?
So it will, I'm just going to say it like this. It will be related to cybersecurity, of course,
Hmm.
um, because with the introduction of AI, and it's changed the ball game for cybersecurity. So we have to create new platforms, right, for businesses and companies out there. And I will say, my particular platform, I wanted to help smalls. I'm a small business owner. I'm not a large or anything like that, right? I'm not on the stock exchange. I'm not a Fortune 500, but I've done very well in my company. Um, for small business owners that are out there, they don't know the impact from a security perspective of how this is going to impact them.
Yeah.
And so the platform that we are creating will involve cybersecurity and protection. I'm giving you some buzzwords. It's going to involve a lot of that. And it will help the smaller business owners who are trying to figure out this whole, entrepreneurship thing. It will help protect them. And I mean, literally, just like, it's so crazy now. I will tell you, this is just a little story. My friend, her mother-in-law got a call, and it was her grandson that was on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the grandson was like, "Grandma, I need you. I need you. I'm in a lot of trouble. Can you help me? Can you please help me, Grandma? I need help. I need help." My friend's mom sent all her information, and they wiped her accounts out.
Oh,
Yeah. So this was using a voice over thing from AI, right? So
wow.
they're getting real creative now.
Mm.
So you can take somebody's voice, just like on the podcast, and take a snippet, and you can create a whole script on an AI tool now. And the scripts are, they can, as you talk, your voice emulates that person's voice. And so it's crazy now. So I want to create products that will protect the consumers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I said earlier, we are up to $1 trillion in cyber crimes. $1 trillion.
Yeah.
And, the laws are not necessarily catching up with the criminals. So I want to create products that will protect the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And all the way down to the single mom, right? Protect them. And grandmas, who's helping grandma?
That's so
You know,
sad because you don't think of like how, I didn't think of how big and, the AI issue can be. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of like, oh my goodness, like look at the world that it's opening us up to. But on the other side of that, there is a cybersecurity risk of, even just looking on social media at times where you can see videos of just, AI people and celebrities being turned into things that aren't really them, but they
mhm,
can put their face on these videos and their voice behind it. So that
mhm.
does create a real risk to just even the everyday person. So,
Yeah, it creates so much risk
mhm,
for the regular everyday consumer. I mean, you're just trying to work a 9 to 5, raise your
yeah,
family, take your kids to school, pay your bills, and then, somebody's stealing your money. And it's not, I think people need to be protected. And I'm not
yeah,
saying that they're not, but there are dangers out there with the introduction of this new tool, with a lot, again, when people create, excuse me, tools, security is last. And so I want to create something that's going to help people. I think people need to be protected too, from these hot tools that we're creating. Security is never at the forefront of when they create these tools. It never is. I
mm,
mean, all the social media platforms has been hacked. every single one of them have been
Mm-hmm.
hacked. So when they created that platform, security was not number one, not until they got hacked. Now you want to bring in security
Yeah.
because
Because
you're
now you
always the
can
last
see
one
like,
in.
oh, now this is deterring people from accessing our platform, or we're losing money. And so then it becomes like now they're trying to scramble and make some changes. So I can see why definitely like when you're building out products and things like that for people that's putting in their personal information, that security does need to be in the forefront of these creations for
Always.
sure.
I preach that to blue in the face. Security should be at the beginning of your development life cycle of whatever product that you're creating. Security needs to be at the forefront of all development. I would preach that forever, that security should always be, look, hand in glove with you. A lots of times, being in security, as long as I've been in it, you're always looked at as the showstopper. Well, no, we're not trying to stop the show. We're more or less saying, no, just put, sprinkle a little bit of this in there, sprinkle that in there, make this a lot more secure for the people who has to have to use this,
Yeah.
because it's big money, with these cyber criminals. I mean, there's bounties out there on the dark net. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
it's not like child's play when you start thinking about like people's infrastructure, right? Because you got like all kinds of stuff out there. If you can imagine if somebody hacked something, right? How it impacts a business. It literally, I think Atlanta, a few years ago, their whole infrastructure was held up by this hacker. So,
And that's scary to
yeah,
think that like
a
a
city
whole
of
city.
Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's crazy.
So it's like, no, I think we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight to secure people. People should not have to experience loss of their hard-earned money because some guy out there figured he was going to get rich by ripping people off, and he was able to hack into a system, right? So if you look out on the forefront, you just Google cybersecurity attacks. It's a whole it's a whole lot of stuff out there where people have been attacked, and it doesn't matter if someone from a cybersecurity company came and said, "Oh yeah, we protected you 100%," run.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's no such thing.
There is
There's
no such thing as 100% protection.
uh-uh.
The whole thing is, I'm gonna give you 70%, and I can't really promise you 70. Is I'm gonna give you enough to where we put the stuff in there to where you get alerts to where something's about to go down on something's happening on your system, where you get a lot of alerts, right? So I'm excited about that on the AI side for cyber, because it will streamline a lot of our processes,
Mhm.
and it will help. It's just training the model, the behavior models, to understand that, when you see this alert, right? Because you ever have like your I just experienced this. You ever have like you went out of the country and you were using your bank card and you got that fraud alert?
Well, yeah, yes, I have. In the States though, just
Yeah.
being out and you're like, whoa,
You're like,
like
what?
your heart drops.
Yeah, it's like that's an algorithm. That's behavior model. That's a behavior model of on their network, which is kind of cool. And so there's like a lot of that's AI like stuff in there, right? Because the algorithm, I'm gonna be a geek now, which means basically the coding in that particular software has said, oh, if they look, they're always located here in DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Oh, they're out of the country now. It's got to be a hacker. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and
that's
I
what
can
that.
appreciate software like that because I do get those, like, when you just travel outside of your normal city and state, and you go out and you are traveling and you purchase something at a different store, and it's like, hold up, block.
Yeah,
And you do feel
block.
embarrassed when you're at the store though, and your credit card isn't
Yeah.
isn't working, but
Listen, listen. Yes, I
I
literally
appreciate it.
experienced it last week. It's like, oh, your card didn't go through. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Let me call the bank.
yeah, exactly.
Call the whole bank. Oh, I forgot to tell them I was out of town. Yeah, so yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be exciting when we bring out our new platform. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see, what it is in real life. And I'm sure more things like that are coming to protect consumers and stuff as AI continues to develop and
Mhm.
things start to really change in the industry. But yeah, I really appreciate you also for coming on, sharing your story, letting us know more about what's going on the back end and what's in development. And it's been great. For people to get to know more about Latresa, where can they go? How can they connect with you?
So our website, I'll say our company name is Agemo Technology. That's AGEMO, which is Omega spelled backwards. There's a story to that. So it's called agimotechnology.com. You can go to our website. We have a website out there. We're on all the social media platforms. If you go to our website, you go to info@agimotechnology.com. Send a note out to us if you are interested in joining our organization or becoming a new employee with the Gimo Technology. I want to hear from you. So yeah, we're out there doing good things out in the industry.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, again, thank you so much. I'm so excited for all the things that you have coming, and thank you for just participating and sharing your story. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on the show to talk geeky stuff.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to hear about geek stuff, so I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.